Hi, this is Kylie with SSP Firearms. In my video, I'm going to be building an AR-15. The theme of this build is rose gold and violet flowers. A lot of the women out there will probably love this build. I'll be splitting this one into 4 different sections, just like my others, so I hope you guys enjoy. So the first section of the gun you're going to want to start with is your upper receiver, and because I do have long nails, I had some help putting on a couple of the pieces on the gun, which is your forward assist, your dust cover, and your barrel. So I'm just going to start from where you would start after you put on your barrel. So from here, you're going to take your gas tube and your gas block, and there will be a tiny hole on the top of your barrel that you'll want to line that gas block up with. There's also going to be one in your receiver to slide that in. Okay, and then once you get that on, there's going to be 3 set screws on the bottom that you will go ahead and put in, and you want to take a little bit of blue Loctite to the screws. Then you will take your hand guard, and that is going to slide right over your barrel. And then there's going to be holes right here that you're going to put your screws in to set that hand guard in. Okay, once your screws are in, your handguard is set in place, and we are choosing to use a compensator on this, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on. Okay, now your barrel is complete. I'm going to move back into my upper receiver and finish that. So you'll take your charging handle, and there's going to be 2 little grooves in your receiver that will slide into. Get that in about halfway, and then you will take your bolt carrier group with it facing downwards like this. We'll set that in, and then push those both in till you hear them click. Okay, and then you have your completed upper receiver and your barrel, and you can put that to the side. So the next section of the gun you'll want to move into is your lower receiver, and typically the first thing on your lower receiver you will install is your trigger. Again, because of my nails, I am not able to do that, so that is already placed in. From here though, we are going to go ahead and put in our safety, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And that is going to go through the hole that is right above your trigger right here, or your grip, sorry. Okay, and then once that is in, I'm going to go ahead and move into my grip. And the grips are sometimes like a pain in the ass to be able to get on, so I went ahead and got that on halfway, and from here you're going to take your screw and you'll put that in. Okay, and then you're going to want to get your screw about halfway screwed in, and then once you have that, there's going to be a little pin and spring that you're going to put in to finish this. So there will be a little pin that kind of looks like a little bullet, and with the pointy side going into your receiver. That's how you want to put that in. And you want to make sure that you put this. So I was doing my function check, and I realized that I put in my selector switch from the right instead of the left because I'm used to ambidextrous selector switches. So that wasn't working, so I went ahead and put in my safety through the left side, and I'm going to go back into my grip now. It's going to be the same. Okay, so once you have your safety selector in, then you will put take your pin that looks like a little bullet, and with the pointy side facing upwards, you want to put that into your receiver. You may have to back up your grip if you don't have enough room to put in your pin. Then take your spring, and that's going to slide in the hole in your grip. Okay. And take your screw and start screwing on your grip. My function check now, and as you can hear, it's clicking, so that is fully installed correctly now. From your grip, now I'm going to go ahead and put on my magazine catch. And your magazine is going to be put through this little slit right here. And you're going to take that, put that in the hole. And you'll go over to your other side, and you will take your spring, and you'll know which one to use because this one isn't very flexible and it's super thick. And then you'll take your cover, push your spring down, and start to screw that on. Okay, so once you get that screwed on about 2 times, you're going to want to push it and there we go. Okay, you want to push it till it can push out a little bit on this side. And then you want to twist it just about 1 or 2 more times to get that fully on there. Okay. Okay. There you go. You there have your magazine catch installed. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put in my bolt release, and that is going to be placed onto your left side of the receiver. That you'll have your bolt release and a pin, a spring, and then another pin to place it in. So you're going to take your spring in through this hole right here. You'll place that in. Then take your pin, and with the smaller side, you're going to want to place that over the spring. So you may need a tool to help you get the pin started in. Okay, and then once you get that started in a little bit, those lined up, and then you can finish getting that through. Okay, and when you're using one of these, you just want to get in the habit of always using the bronze side so that it doesn't mar your receiver as bad. Okay, so once that's in, I'm going to put in my trigger guard, and that's going to go on the bottom right here. So you want to put that in, and you'll have a screw and a pin for this. Take my screw, put that in on your right side. Take Get a little Allen key, get that screwed in, make a smaller one. Okay, and then you want to give it one last good push to make sure that's in. Okay, so the last pieces on your gun that you're going to want to place in is your back takedown pin and your front takedown pin, and I'm going to go ahead and start with my front. And I have a super cool tool that I'm going to be using on this takedown pin. Okay, putting that through. And take your red plunge, push that through. Okay, then take your spring, slide that through. Okay, and then take your pin, then you'll take your press pin, press those through, and lift this up. Okay, once those are secured in, we'll then take your front takedown pin and going through the right side. I'm gonna go ahead and pull your press pin out, slide that in, pull your red side out, turn it, and there you have your front takedown pin installed. Go ahead and put in your back takedown pin. Now this is kind of like a multitasking, I want to say, with your back buffer tube. So for this, you're going to want to go ahead and take your buffer tube and get that going on a little bit. And you're going to have a spring and pin that are going to be placed in through this hole. You have to hold that down until you get the buffer covering it just a tiny bit, just enough to hold that down. Okay. Alrighty, so once you get that screwed on and your pin and spring are secured, then you're going to want to go to the back of your receiver right here, and that's where you're going to drop in your pin and spring for your back takedown pin. Okay, so once you have that screwed on just enough, then your spring and pin should be secured back here. Then you can move into your back takedown pin. So you'll want to take your pin and slide that in just a little bit. Then you will take your pin and through this back hole right here, you will drop that in. Take your spring and drop your spring in over your pin. Okay, then get your disconnect plate and get that over your spring. Okay, so getting that spring to stay in as you're trying to twist on your disconnect plate and your buffer is a real pain in the ass. So if you feel like it's taking you forever, you're not the only one. I finished it off camera so that I wasn't sitting here forever doing it for you guys. But that is in. The only thing you had to do was get your spring in, and then you screw that on, and then your buffer tube is in place, and so is your back takedown pin. Okay, so then you'll want to take your buffer retaining spring and you're going to slide that in. And with that little pin that you were holding down, that is what is going to hold your spring in place in there. So you want to get that behind the little notch. Okay, Okay, you then have your completed lower receiver and your barrel, and now you can go ahead and connect your upper receiver to your lower receiver. And you'll see these two holes in your upper. That is where you will go ahead and put your pins in. Okay, so once you have that back takedown pin in, you can go ahead and take your magazine and slap that in. Once you have that in, you have your fully assembled AR-15. Thank you for watching my video.